Hey, what's up everybody? It's Sega Man. Yes, back here with another top 10 videos. This time it's going to be my top 10 Sega Saturn games of all time. Now a lot of people liked my top 10 Sega Genesis games, and I told you I would do one of a top 10 of my Sega Saturn games. I'm really enjoying doing these. A lot of people I think like these top 10s that I'm doing, so I'm going to continue doing that. And we're going to get into my top 10 of my Sega Saturn games. I want to say, before I start, thank you for watching and subscribing to my channel, and thank you to my new subscribers. I really appreciate it, guys. 2 thumbs up for you. I do subscribe back to your channels, and I do check out your content. You guys rock. Thank you very much. So let's get into it, guys. These are my top 10 Sega Saturn games, and I have an honorable mention game at the end of the video. So let's get into it. Now my first, which is number 10, which is a great game. This was a great Smash arcade hit. It was actually number 1 arcade hit in the, I think in the mid or middle 90s. And man, I used to play this game a lot. It is a great game to own for your Sega Saturn. If you get a chance, if you could find it at a good price, pick it up. And it is X-Men Children of the Atom. This is my number 10. This is a great game. And if you see down the bottom here, GamePro gave it, I think, all 5s. Fun factor and everything. This is a great game, guys. This is a great beat-em-up game for your Sega Saturn. This is a direct port of the arcade game. I went to the arcade game and played it, and then we played on my Sega Saturn. It was a direct port. They couldn't have did a better job with this, Acclaim and Capcom. This is a great game, guys, to own for your Sega Saturn, man. I mean, it's an awesome game. You know what I mean? I mean, if you played this in the early 90s in the arcade, you need to pick it up for your Sega Saturn if you're becoming a Sega Saturn collector. I've been a Sega Saturn collector for a very long time, and you can't go wrong with this Marvel beat 'em up. It is an awesome game, and I highly recommend it. Now the next one here is another game by Capcom. I played this game a lot. Love the graphics in the game. It is you know, the thing about the Sega Saturn, guys, is yes, it didn't do the best 3D games, but hands down, it did 2D games better in my opinion than the regular PlayStation. I mean, the regular PlayStation had some cool 2D games, fighting games, but the Sega Saturn kicks its ass. I mean, hands down. You know, when it comes to fighting games and stuff like that. And this was one of the best games that ever come out, for the Sega Saturn, is Street Fighter Alpha 2. This is a great game for the Sega Saturn. This is my number 9. The graphics are awesome. The gameplay is awesome. All the characters are really cool, and they're highly detailed, in the gameplay, man. So if you can find it at a good price, pick it up. Even if you can't find, it's really hard to find these games with the hard shell, with it not being broken. You know what I mean? But if you do, pick it up, man. It's a great game. You might have played this on like compilations that come on your Xbox One X or your PlayStation, but this is a really good game to own for your Sega Saturn, man. You know what I mean? So, hey, if your system, isn't online at the time, or if something happens, that's why it's good to keep these systems and check them out. You know what I mean? It's an awesome game, and if you want to relive your old school gaming days, that's why I'm a collector, man. When I zone out, when I go down in my basement in my game room and play my games, because I just think of that era back then in the early 90s, like the 95 and 96, 93 were like my great eras. I loved those years. You know what I mean? And this takes me back, man, to those eras, and like the late 90s and early 90s, man. So pick it up. Great game. That's my number 9. Another good game here, Sega game. I think it was kind of underrated. The art style and the graphics to this game were just fantastic on the Sega Saturn. And my number 8, and I love this game near and dear, it is Clockwork Knight. This is another great game to have for your Sega Saturn, man. If you can find it at a good price, guys, pick it up. You know what I mean? It's a different type of game. It's a little odd. I like games like that though, that are a little strange, a little odd. But Clockwork Knight, it was a great game, guys. So pick it up. I'm pretty sure you really enjoyed. The graphics were pretty cool back then for this game. You know what I mean? It was just an awesome game, and I think you would enjoy it. You know, so or watch some videos on it and see, and then pick it up. You know, just but in order for you to really get the experience, you have to play the game. So just check it out if you get a chance. Pick it up. Clockwork Knight. Now, my number 7 game. This game has become very expensive. To me, it is one of the best fighting games, 2D fighting games to ever come out for the Sega Saturn, and it is Mortal Kombat Trilogy. This game is highly expensive, I believe, on the Sega Saturn. Maybe it might have went down some, but it has every single freaking character for that genre and era in that time. And I played this all the time, man. Constantly, all the time. I would 4, 5, 6 hours just playing Mortal Kombat Trilogy on the Sega Saturn. And to me, it had the best visuals. It had the best sound chip in it. Graphically, it was awesome. Mortal Kombat Trilogy is a very awesome game, guys. And if you can find it on a cheap, pick it up. Even if you can just find it on the disc, pick it up. It is a great game to add to your Sega Saturn collection. Mortal Kombat Trilogy, guys. And it's also out for the PlayStation. I have that one, too. So it's really awesome. All right. All right. Now, let's see. Let's see here. My number, let's see, 6 game here is a great game. This game was the only game, I believe, that came out on a Sega Saturn system. And it is Contra, Legacy of War. This is a great game for the Sega Saturn. Also, you could play it in 3D, or I believe you could play it in 3D or 2D. I tried them both, and it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool game. It's kind of expensive today. You know what I mean? Some people didn't even know Contra came out for the Sega Saturn. But I picked this up from a local game store that I used to go to that used to be open. I tried it out, and I really like it. It's a cool, different concept of a Contra game. It's very awesome, guys. So if you could find this on the cheap, or it might be a little bit expensive, pick it up for your Sega Saturn collection. It's a really, really cool game. I enjoyed it. I haven't beat it, but from what I've played, I have enjoyed it. You can see a little bit of the graphics back there, but it's a great game. Now let's see here. Now the next one here, my number 5 game, another great game, another fighting game by Capcom. Very good game, man. Very awesome game. Very colorful, very 2D graphically, and it is Night Warriors Darkstalkers Revenge. Another great game to come out for the Sega Saturn. I always keep my games in very good condition. It is an awesome, awesome game. I used to play these for a long period of time. The music in here was awesome. Capcom and them did a great game on the 2D graphics, and the backgrounds is what really set this game off. It was very beautiful and colorful, and it's a very awesome game to have to your Sega Saturn collection. Highly recommend this game, guys. And I'm pretty sure you might be able to find this, pretty, not cheap, but maybe at a good price. I mean, if you look at the artwork on the back of the book that comes, instruction book that comes with it. I mean, it was just an awesome game. You know what I mean? And I still enjoy it today. Now, my number 4 game. Everybody knows this game. You can find this game on your systems today. But back in the day, this was one of the best, actually, 3D games for the Sega Saturn. and it is Virtual Fighter 2. Virtual Fighter 2 still is a great game to this day, and in my opinion, it still holds up graphically. I mean, you have these games, yeah, they're real, you know, you can see this skin pores and all that, but this was a great game. This is this is probably the best Virtual Fighter game that ever came out. You know, now the new ones are really good, and I like them, but Virtual Fighter 2 just really holds a very warm spot in my heart. You know what I mean? I played this game over and over again, and I loved it. Virtual Fighter 2 for the Sega Saturn was just an awesome game. You know what I mean? And I liked it better than, you know, Tekken. A lot of people love Tekken, but my favorite 3D fighting game is Virtual Fighter. Hands down. I choose that over Tekken. You know what I mean? Tekken's a good game, don't get me wrong, but Virtual Fighter is better, in my opinion, a better Virtual Fighter game, 3D game than Tekken. But if you get you can find this cheaper. You can find this cheap. You can find some of the Virtual Fighter games pretty cheap. So if you get a chance, guys, pick it up. It's a great game to add to your Sega Saturn collection. Now the next game I got here, okay, which is my number 3. Beautiful game, awesome game. There is another version. There's another version of this series that's on the Xbox One X. I have enjoyed playing that game with Hebot. He's a cool dude. Check out his channel. And this one here is Panzer Dragoon 2. Great game. I have one downstairs, but two was my favorite. The graphics, I mean, for that time and era, were stunning. The music in here that was composed in this was very good and done well. This is a great game, guys, for the Sega Saturn. Panzer Dragoon, I think it's Zorel 2. And now I don't have the RPG one. That's mad crazy expensive. I seen that game for $400. You know what I mean? But if you like on-rail shooters, this is one that you should definitely pick up. 1 and 2. I believe this has went up in price, and I believe 1 has. I don't think it's that expensive, but this was one of the best games that ever came out on a Sega Saturn system. It's just an awesome game, and you will enjoy it. Like I said, you ride this dragon looking thing, and it's beautiful. And the music in here, so relaxing. Awesome game to play, guys. Add it to your Sega Saturn collection, guys. You won't go wrong. It's just an awesome game. Now, my number 2. I like side-scrolling shoot 'em up, and you guys know I'm a shmups addict. You know what I mean? I try to find all the shmups I can. Even if they're digital and they didn't come out physically, I'll buy them. I own a lot on the Xbox One X. I own most of them on the Xbox One X. There's a few on there I'm going to get, but I'm waiting for it to come down in price. But this one here is my number 2, and it's a great game made by Acclaim to add to your Sega Saturn collection. I'm pretty sure you can find it pretty cheap, I think. And it is Galactic Attack. Now, this is a top-down shooter with beautiful graphics in space. It's just an awesome game. If you ever played Fidios for the Sega Genesis, it's kind of like that kind of a top-down shooter, kinda. It's totally different because it's like a Roman era Philios. This is that version, but in a space era, you might as well say, almost. Galactic Attack is a great game for a shoot-'em-up game, guys. I'm pretty sure, I don't know, you might be able to find this cheap. You know what I mean? I'm not sure what the price is on these. I like to sometimes go on Amazon and see how much these are and went up. But if you like shmup games, highly recommend Galactic Attack. It's a great game. Last but not least, my number 1. Yes, it is. It is a shmups game. It is a shoot 'em up game on the Sega Saturn. I love this series, okay? And it has went up in price pretty much. But I just love this shoot 'em up game. And ready for it is Darius Gaiden for the Sega Saturn. This game is, I could play this game over and over again, over and over. Because you go by, when you beat a board, like the A, B, C, D, E, F, G, it does the alphabet, but you can pick different boards that you can go to and explore. You know what I mean? Beautiful color, beautiful graphics. It's like these big space-looking amphibians, fish, and stuff like that. It's an awesome game, and I love the Darius series. I have another one. It's called Darius G something on the regular PlayStation, but this beats that hands down. You know what I mean? I enjoy the one on the PlayStation, but the Sega Saturn one, man, I mean, it's just awesome. You know what I mean? If you can get it at a good price, guys, try to pick it up if you're into shoot 'em up games. This is an awesome game to own for your Sega Saturn collection. And I'll show you a little bit of it on the back. We're trying to not get the glare in it, but if you can look pretty good. I mean, it was just graphically and colorful. It was a great game, guys. And I always go back to playing this sometimes. I'll go downstairs, put it in. It's a very awesome game. And the music, man, the music in this, unheard of. It was just great, different type of sound and music in these games, especially in Darius Gate. It was a great game, man, and the music was it was awesome. You know, that's what helps make a game. You know, is the music. So now the last one I'm going to show you is an honorable mention. This is a really cool game. It's by Fox Interactive, and it is a great game that did come out for the Sega Saturn, and it is Die Hard Arcade. This is another cool, kind of like an adventure, fighting game. So it's like an adventure fighting game. It's a really good game, I think. For that time, big sprites and stuff on the, on your TV. But this is my honorable mention, is Die Hard Arcade. You won't go wrong with that. Hold on, guys. Sorry about that, guys. My phone was ringing. Got into me doing this video. But yeah, if you can pick it up on the cheap, it should be pretty cheap. I'm not sure. You probably can find it for a good price. But it is an awesome game to play on your Sega Saturn. So that's my honorable mention, guys. Well, that's my top 10, guys, for my Sega Saturn games. Maybe I'll do another one this weekend, of one of my top 10s in my collection. You know what I mean? I hope you guys really enjoyed my video. And I want to say thank you for watching. Also, I want to give a big shout out to Microbox. It's Microbox. He has a channel. He's a cool dude. And he has a good podcast. He knows Hebot and E-Rock. They do a good show on video games and on movies. If you're into movies like Marvel, DC, the Micropod, they're really cool. So check his channel out. He's an awesome dude. He's one of our England brothers. He's a cool dude. I like him a lot. Hopefully someday I can maybe do a podcast for him and Hebot and E-Rock. You know what I mean? Soon, maybe we'll try to get that together. Check him out. The Micropod Xbox podcast. Really cool brother from England. So, thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. I want to give a shout out to a few people. Mr. 100. I want to give a big shout out to my new subscribers. Hebot, E-Rock, Carly, Cyrus649, Thrifty Gamer, amongst other people on here that are great. They're just great people on here, man, that really like in games and movies and different things that they like enjoying. So I want to thank you again, guys, for subscribing and watching my channel. And I will subscribe back to you guys, and I will definitely check out you guys' videos on video games and even movies, and I will give you my opinion on it. And that's just how I do. You know what I mean? So thanks a lot, guys, for watching. I will be back with another video soon. Alright, so always remember, for me, Xbox for life. Peace. Jump in. Later.